We're here at the International Conference for Disaster-Resistant Infrastructure, and we're in Nice in France. It's the first time this conference is being held in Europe. And to talk more about it, we're now joined by Mr. Amit Prathi, who is the DG of CDRI. Thank you so much,
Hi,
sir, for
everyone.
being with us. If you could tell us a bit about what are the outcomes you're hoping for in this conference?
Sure. So, we are a coalition, and the intention of such a conference is to do three things. One, bring your constituency together so that they get a chance to see what is going on around the world. So, for example, we have people from Fiji talking to people from Dominican Republic. Now, if you don't know geography, these are two completely different parts of the world, right? One, Fiji is in the Pacific, whereas Dominican Republic is in the Caribbean, and they often don't get an opportunity to talk and share. And they have shared experiences. For example, they are facing cyclonic activity, they are facing floods, they're facing challenges that islands face. So we wanted to make sure we had an opportunity to bring such kind of people together, both the government officials as well as solution providers, to come and engage in how do we solve problems that may be common. The second part of this is really, France is the co-chair of CDRI. So with India and France leading the coalition
Right.
at this point, it was an invitation from the French government to come and participate on the. We are sitting. If you look behind me, it's the UN Oceans Conference that's going on.
Yes.
And so we wanted to focus on islands as part of this larger discussion on the ocean, as part of this ocean conference. So hence, when France invited us to come and join, we said, okay, then let's focus more on the resilient island program. The third part of it is that, tomorrow we will be announcing a program dedicated to Africa. So what we are learning from working in the islands region, we are realizing that there is an opportunity to bring uniqueness to the way these problems are looked at. And we would like to do the similar engagement in the African continent. So the effort also is that we'll be launching a new initiative, our ambition to design a new initiative focused for the African region. And it comes because yesterday we had our 54th member join the coalition, which
I
is the
see.
African Union
Oh.
Commission. So, we are very keen to now also expand the work into Africa.
All right, and uh, the Coalition for Disaster-Resistant Infrastructure,
Resilient
Resilient
infrastructure.
Infrastructure. I beg your pardon. It's been an example of India really leading in this space of climate change, championing this cause, also bringing other countries together, less fortunate in the global south. And so, if you could talk a bit about what has been achieved. This is the seventh such international conference you're having. So in this space of this leadership, if you could talk about what the achievements have been.
Yeah. So, we are 5 years, like when we started in 2019, when the Honorable Prime Minister of India made an announcement in the UN Climate
Yes.
Summit to say that, India will show leadership and build a coalition from the global south. It's a big ambition. And the last 5 years have really been about how do we build this in a way where we're not talking down to nations necessarily, right? I mean, we are doing this in a way where we've been actually engaging the various coalition members to understand what is it that they need, what is it that they're not already getting. There are a lot of players who are actually, you've got the development banks, you've got bilateral support countries. So there's a lot of effort already going on to address growing risks from climate change. So it was important for us to also understand over the last 5 years, how do we step in and really become a voice that may be missing from the global stage. And what we have found is that there is a need for focusing on infrastructure. There are a lot of voices out there focusing on community resilience, focusing on issues of, this conference is about oceans and what's going on within our oceans. But the touch point between ocean and land is community, your coastal communities. And infrastructure is a key element of this this narrative of climate resilience, which had not been visible 5 years ago. So I think what we have been able to do is stitch this conversation in a way whereby looking at infrastructure, looking at how infrastructure will be affected by climate change. For example, how cyclonic patterns that are going to change in the future, how do they affect our power grid? Not very many people were looking at those kinds of issues, and those are very, very relevant, particularly in island nations. You see examples of a hurricane coming by, and for example, Puerto Rico did not have power for up to a year, right? So when you have no power because of a cyclone, that's an infrastructure resilience issue. And when you don't have power, your community basically does not have access to power and livelihood opportunities. So we've been able to frame this discussion in a way which is linking climate change with the risk to infrastructure and how that impacts communities, particularly the most vulnerable. That narrative has been developed over the last 5 years and under India's leadership.
That's absolutely amazing. And also, I think now we've seen the impact of climate change in the first world as well. We're seeing so many instances in Europe of flooding, and in America, the US as well, especially when it comes to these massive storms that are now taking place.
Wildfires as well now, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much, sir, for your time. And this is Gargi Rawat reporting from Nice in France on this international conference that is taking place.